The massive alien ship moved through space like a dark mountain. Its hull was black metal that seemed to eat light. The ship was called Dominion's Edge, and it belonged to the Vorthak, a race that had conquered hundreds of worlds across the galaxy. Commander Zelthara stood on the bridge of the great ship. She had 4 arms and skin like gray stone. Her yellow eyes looked at the blue planet growing larger on the main screen. Earth, the humans' homeworld. According to her reports, this planet was already beaten. Her advanced fleet had destroyed the human defenses 3 months ago. The bridge crew worked quietly around her. They checked weapons and scanned for any signs of human ships. But the sensors showed nothing dangerous. Only broken pieces of metal floating in space and a few small ships running away from Earth. "Commander," said one of her officers, "we are detecting distress signals from the planet's surface. The humans are asking for help. They say their cities are burning." Zelthara made a sound like grinding rocks. It was how the Vorthak laughed. "Of course they are asking for help. They have no one left to save them. Begin the occupation. Send down 3 landing ships. That should be enough for a broken world." Far below on Earth, Admiral Lee Hyun stood in a deep underground room beneath the city of Seoul. The room was full of computers and screens showing maps of space around Earth. Lee Hyun was a tall man with gray hair and calm eyes. He had been planning for this day for 5 years. "Sir, the alien ship is moving into position above our planet," said Captain Park So-min. She was young with short black hair and wore the blue uniform of Earth's Space Navy. "Their scans are showing exactly what we want them to see." Lee Hyun nodded. "Good. Make sure our surface cities keep broadcasting the right signals. The aliens must believe we are truly defeated." Above ground, the great cities of Earth looked like they had been destroyed. Buildings were broken and fires burned in the streets. But this was all fake. The real buildings were hidden underground or covered by special shields that made them look like ruins. The fires were just holograms made by machines hidden in the fake rubble. Captain Park So-min touched her earpiece. "All stations report ready, sir. The ghost protocols are working perfectly." Lee Hyun walked to a large window that showed the real Seoul far below. The city was alive and busy, but it was hidden from alien eyes by technology that took years to build. "How long until the Vorthak ship is in the trap zone?" 12 hours, sir." On the moon, in a secret base built inside an old crater, Captain Park So-min's sister worked at her own control station. Luna Base looked like an abandoned mining station to alien sensors, but it was really Earth's most important space command center. "Earth Control, this is Luna Base," she said into her radio. "All fake debris fields are in position. The aliens will see only what we want them to see." The Vorthak ship Dominion's Edge slowly moved closer to Earth. Its powerful sensors looked at everything. But the humans had been very clever. Every piece of metal floating in space had been put there on purpose. Every broken building had been designed to look real, but hide the truth. Commander Zelthara studied the reports coming from her science officers. "The human technology is very basic," she said. "Their ships use simple chemical rockets. Their weapons are just metal projectiles and basic energy beams. How did they ever think they could fight us?" "Perhaps they did not think, Commander," said her second officer. "Many young races fight without understanding their enemy. They learn too late that the Vorthak cannot be stopped." On Earth's moon called Titan, which orbits the planet Saturn, Chief Engineer Kim Tae-ho checked the massive machines hidden in the deep ice. Titan looked empty to any alien scan, but underneath its frozen surface was the largest secret in human history. "Final power checks complete," Kim Tae-ho said to his team. "All 6 units are ready for activation. When Admiral Lee Hyun gives the signal, we can have them moving in 30 minutes. His assistant, a young woman named Jin Soo, looked worried. "Sir, are you sure they cannot detect us?" "The power signatures are enormous," Kim Tae-ho smiled. "The Vorthak look for the kind of technology they know. They do not understand how humans think. We build things differently than they do. Our ships do not look like ships to their scanners." Back on the Vorthak ship, Commander Zelthara received the final reports from her advanced scouts. The small ships had flown around Earth and found exactly what they expected. Broken human cities, scattered refugees, and no sign of any major military force. "Commander, shall we call for the main fleet?" asked her weapons officer. "No," Zelthara said. "This world is finished. The main fleet is needed to attack other human colonies. We can control this planet with just our ship and a few support vessels. Send word to the fleet commander that Earth is ready for full occupation." Admiral Lee Hyun received this news in his underground command center. A smile crossed his face for the first time in months. Perfect. They are doing exactly what we hoped. Send the message to all hidden bases. Phase 1 is complete. Begin Phase 2 preparations. Around the solar system, in places the Vorthak could not see, human ships and weapons platforms began to wake up. On Mars, inside fake mining stations, captains and crews prepared for battle. In the asteroid belt, weapons that looked like space rocks powered up their systems. On Jupiter's moons, shipyards that appeared to be abandoned began final checks on their greatest creations. The Vorthak thought they had won an easy victory. They believed the humans were a weak race that had been crushed by superior technology. But they did not understand the most important thing about humans. When humans are pushed to the edge of defeat, they do not give up. They get smarter. They get tougher. And they prepare for the day when they can strike back. Commander Zelthera looked at the blue planet on her screen and felt satisfied. Another world added to the Vorthak Empire, another species that had learned they could not fight the superior race. She ordered her ship to move into orbit and prepare for the occupation. She had no idea that she had just flown into the most carefully prepared trap in human history. The humans had not been defeated 3 months ago. They had been waiting. 3 weeks passed since the Vorthak ship Dominion's Edge arrived at Earth. Commander Zelthera felt very pleased with how easy the occupation was going. Her troops had landed in the major human cities and found exactly what she expected: broken people who were too scared to fight back. The human cities were full of refugees who begged for food and medicine. The resistance fighters they found were weak and used old weapons that could barely damage Vorthak armor. Every day, Zelthera received reports that made her more confident that Earth was completely under control. "Commander," said her intelligence officer, "the human resistance attacks are getting weaker each day. Yesterday, they only managed to damage one supply truck. Today, they have done nothing at all." Zelthera nodded. "Good. Send word to the main fleet that Earth is secure. They can move the other ships to attack the human colonies in the Alpha Centauri system. We only need our ship and 2 support vessels to keep this world under control." What Zelthera did not know was that every resistance attack, every refugee camp, and every scared human she saw was part of a huge deception. In a hidden base deep under the city of Seoul, Colonel Choi Min-ah watched the alien reports on her computer screen and smiled. "They are taking the bait perfectly," she said to her assistant. "The fake resistance cells are doing exactly what we need them to do. The aliens think they are winning because we are letting them win small victories." Colonel Choi Min-ah was in charge of Earth's counterintelligence operations. For 5 years, she had been preparing fake resistance groups, trained actors who would pretend to be refugees, and realistic-looking weapons that were designed to seem primitive to alien eyes. "Ma'am," said Lieutenant Han Jin-woo, "the aliens have moved most of their fleet away from Earth. Only the main ship and 2 smaller vessels remain in orbit." "Perfect. Send that information to Admiral Lee Hyun immediately." On Mars, hidden inside what looked like an old mining station, Captain Yoon Jae-sung coordinated with the fake resistance cells on Earth. His job was to make sure the aliens received exactly the right amount of false information to keep them feeling safe and superior. "Red Team, this is Mars Base," he said into his radio. "Your attack on the food warehouse yesterday was perfect. The aliens think you are getting desperate because you are targeting civilian supplies instead of military targets." The voice that came back belonged to Sergeant Kim Hae-won, who was hiding in the ruins of New York City. "Understood, Mars Base. We will hit another civilian target tomorrow, but we will make sure our weapons malfunction so we cause very little damage." Captain Yoon Jae-sung looked at his tactical display. Every Vorthak patrol route was marked in red. Every alien supply drop was recorded. Every communication frequency the aliens used was being monitored and decoded. The humans were learning everything about their enemy, while the aliens learned nothing real about humanity. In a secret laboratory buried deep in the ice of Antarctica, Dr. Seo Yoon-ji studied pieces of Vorthak technology that the fake resistance cells had managed to capture. The aliens thought the humans were too primitive to understand their advanced equipment, so they were not very careful about protecting it. "Fascinating," Dr. Seo Yoon-ji said as she examined a piece of alien armor through her microscope. "Their shield generators use a rotating frequency pattern. If we can predict the rotation, we can find the weak points." Her assistant, Dr. Park Jun-ho, looked up from another table where he was studying a Vorthak weapon. Their energy weapons are powerful, but they overheat quickly. If we can force them to fire rapidly, they will become useless for several minutes. Dr. Seo Yunji entered all this information into her computer. Everything they learned was immediately sent to the hidden shipyards where human engineers were making final preparations for the real war that was coming. Above Earth, Commander Zelthara stood on the bridge of her ship and felt completely in control. The humans were clearly a broken species. Their technology was hundreds of years behind the Vorthak. Their resistance was getting weaker every day. Soon, Earth would become another productive world in the Vorthak Empire. "Commander," said her communications officer, "we are receiving a message from the Fleet Command. They want to know if we are ready to begin moving Earth's resources to support the war effort." "Tell them yes," Zelthara replied. "Start preparing the resource extraction equipment. These humans have some useful minerals on their world. We will strip mine their planet and relocate the survivors to work, camps on other worlds." What Commander Zelthara did not realize was that her own communications were being intercepted and decoded by Captain Park So-min on Luna base. Every order the aliens gave, every plan they made, every weakness they revealed was immediately reported to Admiral Lee Hyun. "Sir," Captain Park So-min said into her radio, "the aliens are planning to begin resource extraction next week. They want to start mining operations in the African continent." Admiral Lee Hyun's voice came back calm and steady. "Understood. How many alien ships remain in our system?" "Just the main ship and 2 support vessels, sir. The rest of their fleet has moved to attack our outer colonies." "Excellent. Contact Chief Engineer Kim Tae-ho on Titan. Tell him it is almost time to wake up our sleeping giants." On Titan, Kim Tae-ho received the message and walked through the massive hidden shipyard buried deep in the moon's ice. Around him, his team of thousands of engineers made final preparations on the greatest secret in human history. The 6 ships that waited in the ice were not like anything the galaxy had ever seen. They were 3 times larger than the biggest Vorthak vessels. Their armor was made from materials that did not exist anywhere else. Their weapons were based on technology that the Vorthak could not even imagine. "Beginning final power-up sequence," Kim Tae-ho said to his team. "All crews to battle stations. In 72 hours, the galaxy will learn that humanity has not been defeated. We have been preparing." The Vorthak had made the biggest mistake of their long history of conquest. They had assumed that because the humans seemed primitive, they actually were primitive. They thought that because human technology looked simple, it really was simple. They believed that a species that had only been in space for a few hundred years could not possibly threaten an empire that had ruled the galaxy for thousands of years, but the Vorthak did not understand human nature. When humans are faced with a superior enemy, they do not surrender. They adapt. They learn. They build better weapons and smarter strategies. And most importantly, they wait for exactly the right moment to reveal what they have really been doing. Commander Zelthara looked at Earth on her main screen and made plans for strip mining the human homeworld. She had no idea that she was about to learn the most important lesson in galactic history. Never underestimate a species that has nothing left to lose. Admiral Lee Hyun stood in his underground command center and looked at the message that had just arrived on his personal screen. The words were simple, but they made his heart beat faster. "Steel dragons awaken." He had waited 5 years to see those words. 5 years of careful planning, of building in secret, of letting the aliens think they had won. Now it was time to show the galaxy what humanity really was. "Captain Park So-min," he said calmly, "send the activation codes to all hidden bases. Begin Phoenix Protocol immediately." Captain Park So-min's fingers moved quickly over her control panel. Across the solar system, signals went out to bases that the Vorthak did not even know existed. On Mars, in the asteroid belt, on the moons of Jupiter and Saturn, human forces that had been sleeping for months began to wake up. Far out near Saturn, on the ice moon called Titan, Commander Bae Jinwoo walked onto the bridge of the largest warship ever built by human hands. The ship was called Soul's Vengeance, and it was a monster of metal and weapons that stretched for 3 kilometers from front to back. "All stations report ready." "Sir," said his second officer, Lieutenant Nam Soo-jin, "fusion reactors are at full power. Weapon systems are charged. Stealth systems are operating perfectly." Commander Bae Jinwoo looked at the tactical display that showed 5 other massive ships just like his own. Each one was named after a major Earth city. Busan's thunder, Incheon's fury, Daegu's hammer, Gwangju's blade, and Ulsan's wrath. Together, they were humanity's secret weapon, the Dreadnought fleet. Begin approach to Earth, Commander Bae Jinwoo ordered. Maintain full stealth. The aliens must not detect us until we are ready to reveal ourselves. The 6 giant ships began to move through space, like invisible mountains. Their hulls were covered with technology that made them look like empty space to alien sensors. Chief Engineer Kim Tae-ho had spent 3 years developing the stealth systems after studying captured Vorthak equipment. On the Vorthak ship, Dominion's Edge, the science officer noticed something strange on his instruments. Commander Zelthara, I am detecting unusual gravitational readings from the outer system. Something large is moving near Saturn. Commander Zelthara looked at the display with mild interest. Probably asteroids. This system has many large rocks floating around. Continue monitoring our occupation forces. What the Vorthak science officer had detected were the gravity fields created by 6 dreadnoughts, each one larger than 3 Vorthak ships combined. But the alien sensors were designed to look for the kind of technology the Vorthak understood. They could not imagine that humans had built something so advanced. Captain Park So-min watched from Luna Base as thousands of hidden defensive platforms throughout the solar system came online. For 5 years, humans had been building weapons disguised as space debris, mining equipment, and abandoned satellites. Now all of these hidden guns were powering up at the same time. Earth Control, this is Luna Base, she reported to Admiral Lee Hyun. All defensive platforms are active. We have over 3,000 weapon systems ready to fire. The aliens still do not suspect anything. Dr. Seo Yoon-ji worked frantically in her Antarctic laboratory, making final adjustments to the quantum interference systems that would jam alien communications. Everything had to work perfectly. The humans would only get one chance to surprise their enemy. Quantum field generators are stable, she reported to her team. When we activate the jamming field, the Vorthak will not be able to call for help. Their main fleet will not even know what is happening here until it is too late. On Mars, Captain Yoon Jae-sung received orders to prepare his hidden fleet for battle. The fake mining stations opened up to reveal dozens of human warships that had been built in secret over the past 5 years. They were smaller than the dreadnoughts, but they were faster and carried weapons that could punch holes through Vorthak armor. All Mars fleet ships. This is Captain Yoon Jae-sung, he broadcast on a secure channel. You have trained for this day. You know what to do. Today we show the galaxy that Earth is not defeated. We are just getting started. The Vorthak continued their occupation of Earth completely unaware that they were about to face the largest military force humanity had ever assembled. Commander Zelthara was planning to begin strip mining operations on Earth's continents when her gravitational sensors started showing more strange readings. Commander, said her science officer, the gravitational anomalies are getting stronger. There are now 6 large objects moving toward our position from different directions. Asteroids do not move in formation, said Commander Zelthara, with the first hint of worry in her voice. Run a deep scan. Find out what is causing these readings. But it was too late for deep scans. Commander Bae Jinwoo and his dreadnought fleet had moved into position around Earth. The 6 massive ships formed a perfect circle around the planet, each one hidden from alien detection by stealth technology that was 20 years ahead of anything the Vorthak had ever seen. All ships report ready, Commander Bae Jinwoo said into his radio. Stealth systems will disengage in 60 seconds. Prepare to show these aliens what human engineering really looks like. Admiral Lee Hyun counted down the seconds in his underground command center. Around him, officers prepared to reveal the greatest military secret in human history. Captain Park So-min's hands hovered over the controls that would bring 3,000 hidden weapons online at the same time. 30 seconds, Admiral Lee Hyun announced. All stations prepare for Phoenix Rising. On the Vorthak ship, alarm bells suddenly began ringing. The science officer stared at his instruments in disbelief as 6 massive energy signatures appeared on his screens at the same time. Each signature was 3 times larger than their own ship. Commander, he shouted. 6 enormous vessels just appeared around our position. Their energy readings are off the scale. Commander Zelthara felt ice in her veins as she realized what was happening. The humans had not been defeated. They had been waiting, and now they were revealing a military force that should not have been possible for such a primitive species. Red alert, she screamed. All hands to battle stations. Send an emergency signal to the main fleet. But Dr. Seo Yoon-ji was ready for that. Her quantum jammers activated at exactly the same moment the dreadnoughts appeared, creating an interference field that made it impossible for the Vorthak to send any messages beyond Earth's solar system. The trap was sprung. The Vorthak thought they had conquered Earth, but they had actually flown into the most carefully prepared ambush in galactic history. The sleeping giant was awake, and it was very, very angry. The 6 human dreadnoughts appeared around Earth like metal gods rising from the darkness. Each ship was a mountain of weapons and armor that cast long shadows across the blue planet below. The Vorthak had never seen anything like them in all their years of conquering worlds. Commander Zelthara stared at her main screen in shock as the massive human vessels materialized around her ship. The Soul's Vengeance alone was 3 times the size of the Dominion's Edge, and its hull bristled with weapon systems that her computers could not even identify. "Impossible," she whispered. "The humans do not have technology like this. Our intelligence reports said they were primitive." Her communications officer frantically tried to send a distress signal to the main Vorthak fleet, but all channels were filled with static. "Commander, I cannot reach the fleet. Something is jamming all our communications." Captain Nam Dong-hyun smiled as he monitored the jamming field from his position aboard the dreadnought Busan's Thunder. Dr. Seo Yoonji's quantum interference system was working perfectly. The Vorthak were completely cut off from any help. "Jamming field is stable," he reported to Commander Bae Jin-woo. "The aliens cannot call for reinforcements. They are on their own." Commander Bae Jin-woo opened a channel to all 6 dreadnoughts. "All ships, this is Soul's Vengeance. Begin attack formation Delta. Let us show these invaders what happens when you attack Earth." The 6 massive ships moved with surprising speed for their size. They had been built not just for power but for tactics. As they took their positions around the Vorthak ship, smaller human vessels began appearing throughout the solar system. From hidden bases on Mars, Captain Yoon Jae-sung led 50 attack ships toward Earth. They had been disguised as mining equipment for months, but now they revealed their true purpose. Each ship carried weapons designed specifically to penetrate Vorthak shields and armor. "Mars fleet is moving to attack position," Captain Yoon Jae-sung reported. "All ships armed and ready. We have been waiting a long time for this." In the asteroid belt, defense platforms that had looked like space rocks suddenly came alive with weapons fire. The 2 Vorthak support ships that were patrolling the outer system found themselves under attack from enemies they could not even see until it was too late. Admiral Lee Hyun's voice echoed across all human communication channels as he spoke from his underground command center. "Attention, Vorthak forces. You came to Earth thinking you had conquered us. You thought we were weak and defeated. You were wrong. You did not conquer Earth. You simply attended our performance." The words hit Commander Zelthara like a physical blow. Everything her forces had seen for the past 3 weeks had been fake. The broken cities, the weak resistance, the frightened refugees. All of it had been an act designed to make her feel safe and superior. "How?" she demanded, speaking into her radio on all frequencies. "How did you hide ships this large? Our sensors should have detected them." Commander Bae Jin-woo answered from the bridge of Soul's Vengeance. "Your sensors look for the kind of technology you understand. You never imagined that humans could build something your science cannot detect. That was your first mistake." On Earth's surface, Lieutenant Oh Hai-won gave the signal that the fake occupation was over. Throughout the major cities, hidden doors opened in what had appeared to be rubble and ruins. Thousands of human soldiers emerged from underground bunkers, their weapons charged and their faces determined. The Vorthak troops on the ground suddenly found themselves surrounded by enemies who appeared from nowhere. The weak, scared humans they had been controlling for weeks were actually highly trained soldiers who had been playing their roles perfectly. "All ground teams, this is Lieutenant Oh Hai-won," she broadcast to the hidden human forces. "Phoenix Protocol is now active. Secure all alien positions. Take prisoners where possible, but protect yourselves first." The fake refugee camps revealed themselves to be military bases. The broken buildings opened up to show weapon emplacements. The frightened civilians pulled off their disguises and became soldiers with advanced equipment that the Vorthak had never seen. Before that, Commander Zelthara watched her tactical display as her ground forces were overwhelmed in minutes. Her 2 support ships had been destroyed by the hidden asteroid defenses. Her main ship was surrounded by 6 dreadnoughts that could destroy her vessel with a single coordinated attack. "Commander," said her weapons officer, "shall we attempt to fight our way out?" Zelthera looked at the massive human ship surrounding her and realized the truth. This was not a battle. It was an execution waiting to happen. The humans had planned every detail perfectly. They had turned her own arrogance and assumptions against her. "How long have you been planning this?" she asked on the open channel. Admiral Lee Hyun answered from Earth. "We began preparing the day your advanced scouts first entered our solar system 5 years ago. Every attack you made taught us something about your technology. Every world you conquered showed us your tactics. We learned from your victories and prepared for this moment." Captain Park So-min activated the hidden weapon platforms throughout the solar system. Thousands of disguised guns revealed themselves as the debris and abandoned equipment they had been hiding behind fell away. The entire solar system had been turned into a trap. "You see, Commander," Admiral Lee Hyun continued, "humans have one advantage you never considered. When faced with a superior enemy, we do not surrender. We adapt, we study, we prepare, and when we are ready, we strike back with everything we have learned." The Vorthak ship Dominion's Edge tried to turn and run, but the dreadnoughts had positioned themselves perfectly. Commander Bae Jin-woo's tactical formation created a cage of overlapping weapon ranges that no ship could escape. "Your ship is surrounded," Commander Bae Jin-woo announced. "Your shields are failing. Your communications are jammed. Your ground forces are captured. You have 2 choices: surrender or be destroyed." Commander Zelthera looked at her bridge crew and saw the same realization in their eyes that she felt in her heart. They had not conquered a primitive world. They had walked into a trap set by a species that was far more dangerous than anyone in the galaxy had imagined. The humans had let the Vorthak think they were winning, while secretly building the most powerful military force the galaxy had ever seen. And now that force was about to teach the Vorthak the most important lesson they would ever learn. Never underestimate humanity. The battle was over before it truly began. The 6 human dreadnoughts moved like hunters around their prey, their massive weapons trained on the Vorthak ship Dominion's Edge. Commander Zelthera watched her shield strength drop rapidly under the coordinated assault from weapons that should not have existed. "Shields at 30% and falling," reported her defensive systems officer. "Hull breach on decks 7 through 12. We cannot withstand this firepower much longer." Commander Bae Jin-woo opened a communication channel from the Bridge of Soul's Vengeance. "Vorthak vessel, this is your final warning. Surrender now or be destroyed. You have 60 seconds to decide." Commander Zelthera looked around her bridge at her crew. They were the finest warriors of the Vorthak Empire, conquerors of 100 worlds. But they had never faced anything like this. The humans had built ships that made Vorthak technology look like ancient tools. "I demand to know how you accomplished this deception," she said into the communication system. "How did a primitive species hide such advanced technology from our scouts?" Admiral Lee Hyun answered from his command center deep below Seoul. "You saw what we wanted you to see, Commander. You believed we were primitive because we showed you primitive technology. You thought we were defeated because we showed you defeat. But humans are very good at one thing above all others. We learn from our enemies and become stronger." The truth was devastating to Commander Zelthera. Every piece of intelligence her forces had gathered about humanity had been carefully planted by human agents. Every battle the advanced fleet thought they had won had been staged, to give the Vorthak exactly the information humans wanted them to have. "Shields at 15%, her officer reported as another coordinated blast from the dreadnoughts shook the ship. "Commander, we must surrender or abandon ship," Captain Lim Soo-young spoke from the dreadnought Incheon's Fury. "Commander Zelthera, these are the terms of your surrender. The Vorthak Confederation will immediately withdraw all forces from human space. You will return to your home worlds and inform your leaders that Earth is now under the protection of the Terran Dreadnought Fleet." "Terran Dreadnought Fleet?" Zelthera repeated in shock. 6 ships is just the beginning, Admiral Lee Hyun said. "We have been building in secret for 5 years. What you see here is only our first battle group. There are more ships coming, and they are even larger than these." As if to prove his point, the space around Titan began to shimmer as massive shapes emerged from hidden shipyards. 12 more dreadnoughts decloaked, each one bristling with weapons and armor that made the first 6 ships look small. The humans had not built 6 secret warships. They had built 18. Commander Zelthera felt something she had never experienced in her long military career: complete defeat. Not just the defeat of her ship or her mission, but the defeat of everything she thought she knew about war and conquest. How many more ships do you have hidden? She asked weakly. Enough, replied Commander Bei Jinwoo. Earth shipyards have been working day and night for 5 years. We have built a fleet that can protect not just our homeworld, but every human colony in the galaxy. Dr. Seo Yoon-ji's teams were already boarding the crippled Vorthak ship to salvage their technology. The alien database contained star charts showing the location of every Vorthak world, every military base, every supply depot in their empire. Admiral, Dr. Seo Yoon-ji reported, we have accessed their navigation computers. We now know the location of every Vorthak installation in the galaxy. Their entire empire is mapped out for us. The surviving Vorthak crew began evacuating their ship as damage control teams reported that the vessel was beyond repair. Commander Zelthara watched her life's work crumble around her as she realized the full scope of the human deception. You have been planning this for years, she said with a mixture of respect and fear. Everything we thought we knew about humanity was wrong. Not everything, Admiral Lee Hyun replied. You were right that we are a young species. You were right that we had never faced an enemy like the Vorthak before. But you were wrong about what that meant. Young species can learn faster than old ones. We had no preconceptions about what was possible or impossible. Captain Park So-min established communication links with hidden human colonies throughout the galaxy. For years, these settlements had been hiding from Vorthak patrols, pretending to be weak and defenseless. Now it was time to reveal the truth. All human colonies, this is Earth Command, Admiral Lee Hyun broadcast across the galaxy. The masquerade is over. Humanity no longer hides among the stars. Today we take our place as a galactic power. The response from the colonies was immediate and overwhelming. Hidden bases throughout human space began revealing themselves. Ships that had been disguised as cargo vessels dropped their camouflage to show military capabilities. Defensive platforms that had looked like mining equipment powered up their weapon systems. Commander Zelthara was transferred to one of the human dreadnoughts as a prisoner of war. As she walked through the corridors of Soul's Vengeance, she was amazed by what she saw. The technology was not just advanced. It was beyond anything the Vorthak had imagined possible. Your ship, she said to Commander Bei Jinwoo. It is not built like any vessel I have ever seen. The power systems, the weapons, the armor. How did you develop this so quickly? Commander Bei Jinwoo smiled. When you are fighting for the survival of your entire species, you find ways to do the impossible. Human engineers worked around the clock for 5 years. We took apart every piece of Vorthak technology we could capture. We learned from your strengths and found your weaknesses. The 18 dreadnoughts formed up into battle formation and began moving away from Earth. Their destination was the Vorthak home system, where they would deliver a message that would change the balance of power in the galaxy forever. Admiral Lee Hyun made one final broadcast to both human and Vorthak forces. For too long, humanity has been seen as a weak species that could be conquered and enslaved. Today that changes. We are not just another primitive race to be added to your empire. We are your equals, and we demand to be treated as such. As the dreadnought fleet disappeared into hyperspace, carrying their message of human strength to every corner of the galaxy, Commander Zelthara understood the full magnitude of what had happened. The Vorthak had not just lost a battle, they had awakened a sleeping giant that would reshape the galaxy. The Galactic Confederation had thought Earth was defeated. Instead, they had discovered that humanity was just getting started.